Whenever someone is talking about video games, one of the number one questions that you almost always will hear is, what's your favorite game? And for me, this question has always been a little bit hard to answer. I have a lot of games. I got Mario Galaxy, I got Call of Duty, got High School Musical. So I decided, why not go through my collection of games and figure out which 10 are my favorite. Little disclaimer, all these games are really good, and you should play every single one of them. If you want to. I don't control your life. If you know me, you know I love a good game of Smash Bros. I've played 5 Smash Bros. Games. I've played Melee, I've played Brawl, I've played the one for 3DS and the one for Wii U, and I've played Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Smash Bros. Ultimate is my favorite. You have so many different characters from so many different game franchises all combined into one game, and that game is just a love letter to all things video games, if that love letter had a lot of assault. All the combat is super polished, the controls are so responsive, and you have all these different side modes like the World of Light and all the little collectibles. Also, did I mention they have remastered music from old games? It's really good. I couldn't possibly forget Minecraft. It's partially responsible for the creation of this channel. Back in the day, me and my friends used to just get our iPods and all gather at each other's houses and just play Minecraft for like 6 or 7 hours straight sometimes. Also, watching old Minecraft videos is what made me want to start a YouTube channel. Minecraft is a true sandbox game. There's no wrong or right way to play it. You could play through the game, beating the Ender Dragon, getting to the end credits, or you could do it like how I do it sometimes and just commit war crimes. Still fun. Despite the issues I have with Mario Kart Wii, it's still an incredibly fun game. Anytime I have friends over and we can't think of something to do, Mario Kart Wii is always one of the first things to come to mind of something we could do, and normally it is what we do. We'll just be sitting there screaming at each other because we're playing Mario Kart, and Mario Kart can be really frustrating sometimes. The game's controls are super solid, all the tracks are designed really well, and the music is stellar. As a matter of fact, I was listening to the game soundtrack while editing this video. Detroit Become Human was an incredibly fun experience, and it made me really think that if the robot apocalypse does come, I could have some issues. In the game, you play as robots, and they're becoming deviant. They're not listening to their owners, they're going wild, they're murdering some people. You see, the game revolves around the different choices that you make, and there's a lot of choices to make. Every single choice will all combine at the end of a chapter to receive a different ending. God of War for the PS4 is really fun, and I want the sequel right now, but I don't have a PS5, and the game isn't even out yet. This was my first experience with a God of War game, and oh boy, what an introduction. The combat is super satisfying. In just the first hour of gameplay, you're shown just how satisfying and rewarding the combat is. And on top of all that, you have an incredibly compelling story, and those two things together is what made me hooked on the game for a few weeks. The Last of Us is an incredible experience, and I highly recommend you play it. The game takes place in a world that has just been struck by an incredibly dangerous and deadly pandemic, which is basically turning everyone into fungus-infected zombies. You play as Joel, who lost her daughter while trying to escape the infection. You also play as Ellie, a girl who lost her parents and is believed to hold the cure to ending the pandemic. Throughout the game, you just see the bond between Joel and Ellie strengthen as they fight their way across the country, seeing each other more and more like family every step they take. It's really fun. You need to play it like right now. From pandemic-stricken wastelands to a plumber in space. Mario Galaxy is my favorite Mario game. The spherical levels, gravity effects, and razor-sharp controls just combine into an incredible platforming experience. And the dramatic take on the story gives the game a big feeling of emphasis on what the problem is. You can probably guess what the problem is, because it's Mario. And did I mention this game's soundtrack is an absolute masterpiece? Every single piece of music that accompanies each level brings the world to life, and just listen to these. Have you ever thought to yourself, man, this game was really amazing, how does something so amazing exist? That's what I think of Celeste. This game is a platformer that follows the adventure of Madeline as she attempts to climb Celeste Mountain. As the game progresses, we learn more and more about Madeline and the struggles and problems she has faced. Throughout the game, we see her fighting herself, but she realized that fighting myself isn't going to solve these issues that I'm having. I need to take time to learn about myself and learn about these problems, and only then can I reach the top of the mountain. I could never give the game the full recognition it deserves in just this little segment, but maybe one day I'll release a full video about it. I probably will. That's foreshadowing. I actually have a script written, I just have to revise it. Before we get to the final two games, we're just going to go through some honorable mentions. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. This game is really fun. The combat is really addictive, the story is so compelling. I love it. Untitled Goose Game. This game is so fun and hilarious, and I can finally live out my dream as bullying children, but in the form of a goose. Cuphead. This game is so incredibly difficult, but so incredibly fun. The hand-drawn animation style combined with the old classical music style just all culminates into this big, beautiful conglomeration of 1930s era animation, and I love it. Spider-Man for the PS4. This game was sick. Swinging through New York City is just so satisfying. The combat is so polished and responsive. There's no pizza time minigame though, so I guess we're just gonna have to take this game off the list. How could you forget the pizza time mission? Super Mario 64 is a gem that I finally got to experience just recently, and even though I haven't finished the game, I can see why so many people absolutely love it. The controls are surprisingly snappy and responsive for a game that came out in the 90s. Each level serves as a jungle gym of platforming while also serving as a hub for every single mission in the game. Even though I haven't finished the game, I can see why so many people absolutely adore it. Now, with that out of the way, let's see what my two favorite games are. This was my first experience playing a Zelda game, and oh boy, what an introduction. This game's world is set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland brought on by Calamity Ganon, and it's your job as Link to regain your memories, fight Calamity Ganon, and free Princess Zelda. This game's world is so open and huge. Almost every single major landmark of the map is visible at all times. And the game's quests are very open-ended. You could go through the game, preparing yourself, regaining all of Link's memories, and finally facing Calamity Ganon with preparation, or you can just be like this guy and go straight towards him with a stick. This game's combat is amazing. There are dozens of different weapons you can use to take down enemies in interesting ways. Each weapon also has a set durability, which even though some people don't like that, I personally don't mind it. I think it adds a little bit of extra flavor and thought behind each battle, like, if one weapon goes down, what am I going to do next? You also have 4 different rune abilities, and each one of these abilities can help you solve problems in unique and creative ways. There are also 120 shrines scattered throughout the map, and each shrine will test you in either your problem solving, your platforming, or your combat. There are 900 Korok seeds scattered throughout the map to find, and there are dozens of NPCs that can give you some side quests. Alrighty, my favorite game. Which could it be? This game is a masterpiece. This game is set in a beautiful, expansive world full of machines, and every single machine has its own purpose, like an animal in nature. In the game, you play as Aloy, who is on a journey to take down the computer program Hades, who is trying to wipe out all life on Earth using the machines. The combat in this game is so polished and responsive. You have dozens of unique and creative weapons you can use to solve problems and take down enemies in creative ways. And to top it all off, you have a crafting system to make ammunition, and that crafting system is so snappy and responsive. And when you're fighting a machine that's much bigger than you, it really feels like, oh boy, if I mess this up, there are going to be really big issues. Every single element of this game is polished, and you can just see the craft and creativity that went into the game, which makes it my favorite game that I've played so far. Well, there it is, my 10 favorite video games. Like I said, all the games on this list are absolutely amazing. It's just ranked in order of how I like them. I think that you should experience every single one of these games, if you want to. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you recommendations. Except for Spider-Man. Don't play Spider-Man. They forgot the pizza time mission. Like, come on. What are you doing?